Hi everyone, welcome to this session of our web series, Fireside Chat with Champions, in which we interview global business leaders, asking them crowdsourced questions relevant to the biggest challenge we face today, COVID-19, and its impact on various aspects of business and the way we can steer ourselves in current uncertainties. Today we have a special guest with us, Dr. Tshering Lama. Dr. Lama is Executive Chairman and co-founder of Idea Studio Nepal. It is a platform to encourage and empower entrepreneurs to solve social and economic issues faced by the country. He is also lead at the Nepal Institute of Public Policy and Governance, where he advises on policies around governance, rule of law, local and national development models, social and impact financing models for local and national government. In 2015, Dr. Lama was selected by the World Economic Forum as a young global leader. Thanks, Tshering, for accepting our invitation. I would request you to let our viewers know a little bit more about you and your current interests and activities.
Deepak, thank you very much. It's an honor to be in your online version of the chat show, which I never thought that you had another talent as well, running a chat show. And it's currently that as the globally people facing the common strong, but people dealing with their own ways. And in Nepal, we are trying our own ways as well. It's a common challenge, but everybody is in their own boats. So currently, that as the country and we all globally facing this pandemic, and it's a huge global storm, but everybody is in their own little boats and dealing with their own problems. Not everybody is in the same boat. We all facing this challenge in our own ways and own terms and own condition, either be a country or as a lay people or lay citizen. So as a person that I always look for is sometimes the crisis also create an opportunity, but biggest thing we need to create is confidence among the people who never able to understand what this pandemic is. Who are the people who's going to understand how we can literally support? And at the moment, for us, as our frontline heroes, those are our health workers. Either be a paramedics, either be a cleaners, or in the hospital, I got the hygiene experts, or doctors and nurses who deal in the ICUs, or the top level experts. And we call it as healing heroes. Right. So as a public health personal background, we created that, hey, we do have a very little resources. We cannot compete with the global resource kind of grabbing at the moment. I don't call it purchasing, it's a grabbing, but how we can literally mobilize the resources that are available within our country and how we can really support each other, especially our health workers, so they can have a confident and also competent to be in the hospital. So our people who are at the moment in the lockdown and stay at home, they can also have a confidence on our people that, hey, if something goes wrong, I know the people who are capable of looking after us. So in order to do that, we have created this Healing Heroes Dignity Package. So that will provide their suits. We made the suits here in Nepal as well with the people who usually make that gown for the average summiteers, and got this physicist and chemist and plasma expert and polymer expert doing a research that whether it is good enough or not. At the end of the day, I'm a pragmatic academician as well. I'm a researcher. So if somebody says good, I'll ask for what is the data behind the good is. So I've got a microbiologist who's looking into that adhesiveness of the virus, how long the virus can survive on it, or that the permeability is, of the clothes and the virus diameters, or which are always been in nanometers, at a very small pieces, whether that can be permeable or not. All these things are doing research at the moment, but at the same time, we also make sure that our health workers are connected with their loved ones, number one, because as you know, if you have been treating the COVID patients, you cannot go home, right? So that you're always away from your loved ones. And at the moment that we're working with one of the service provider, network service provider, they get a free SIM, free connections, free data. So they're not just only get in touch with your loved ones, but also that they can able to take the calls and able to communicate freely without thinking that, hey, my money ran out, right? So it's just kind of how we can equip them. And third one is, as you know, that near the hospital, most of the restaurants are closed, So we are providing, with the help of our chefs, that we are providing a very good meal for them as well. And we're also providing that all the hospitals that are technical support, like fixing a ventilator, making isolation chambers, stretchers and everything that needed. So this is something that we call as Healing Hero Dignity Package. We want to make sure that they are there. There somebody is looking after them when they're looking after the patient in the front line. So this is something that we have created. So far, the nature has blessed Nepal. We don't have any death due to the COVID-19. But again, the country is whole lockdown. So yeah, the country is locked down, but I've been running around, try to find the solutions, as sometimes the COVID also created this new kind of relationship with amazing people, which I might never ever have met before. But at the same time, it has given us, people like us, as another chance to see that, hey, are you the part of the problem or are you the part of the solutions?
Awesome.
So,
Thanks, sharing. You're always part of the solution. I've been seeing you for a long time now. I've seen the great stuff you are doing. So I believe that the problems would be very scared of someone like you. So this brings us to our first question. As you know, COVID is unlike anything world has seen, especially our generation. And we see that, someone who has been working very closely with the startup, right? You trying to build startup ecosystem and doing a lot of things around it. What, according to you, will be the impact of COVID, specifically on a startup ecosystem and subsequent economic downturns, which we'll see after COVID?
Yeah, this has been so one of the direct impact of the COVID coronavirus pandemic on the health is there. Losing people's, causing a lots of tensions and stress itself is a huge impact on the health is directly there. But beside that as well, that it has got a huge impact on the startups. So we're looking at the two sides of this. One of the thing is Nepal startup scene is very young. So it is a very difficult. We are just start talking about the startups. We still try to find the definition of the startups in a country like Nepal, but now is hit by on the biggest pandemic that probably we might not have able to see this ever again in our life. Whole world is closed down. Whole business is shut down. And one of the thing is, as you know, the majority of startups, not everybody got a luxury of the supporting by the families. Most of the people put a little bit of their saving to kickstart with it. Now they need to worry about their own existence and their business. And not only that, the business people who are involved with them, right? And as you know, that any kind of financial recession happens globally, almost a huge number of startups dies and never picks up. That is there. And this is not just a Nepali problem, but it's also a global phenomenon as well. And this is something that we are looking into, how we can support into that, how we can literally support those, I call it social innovators, right? One thing is how we can motivate them and what kind of package they need so they can have this breathing space, right? I'm in constant touch with all our ideators of the Idea Studio, either be a season 1, season 2, season 3, or season 4, because I don't want them to give up the hope. This is the one thing that what the startup should be focusing on at the moment. Hey, this is not just our problem, but at the same time, how we can look after each other. Deepak, just to give you an example, that our 4 of our ideators came together. One is the idea of the business that you have met them as well, who supplies the medicine at home.
Right.
Another one is Sajula Mormut, who provide the plumbing and electrical support kind of service at home. One is a kind of, who provides the vegetable service at home. And another one is e-learning platform. So we created this 1 in 4 services package, right? So this is something that we're providing as well. So one way, yes, Deepak, there is a huge problem. But one of the problems in Nepal is because we're just taking the early steps of the startups. In Nepal, neither we have got angel investors, nor we have got other countries like a huge government investment on startups. We're trying to defining our Nepalese context of startups, but we've been hit badly. But what I've told our fellow ideators or startups, social entrepreneurs, is that how we can collaborate, right? We are already in the bottom. So is there something we can co-create among ourselves so we can coexist, number 1. Number 2 is that this has given us a different challenge, which we never thought about it. Can we come up as a startup? Can we do something that which we never had a chance to do about it? Sometimes getting locked up or boredom also helps in the creativity as well. But at the moment, we are just discussing that how we can help each other, how we can support each other, and add the value to each other as well. So at the moment, we are looking in that way as well. So globally, that startup scene is definitely going down because majority of business has been impacted. I don't know how many countries can able to provide the support that were the highly rich countries can able to provide for the startups. But one of the thing is that if the globally big financial institution doesn't support the startups, it's also going to affect their businesses as well. So what the corona has taught us is that we all are interdependent. You close one, it closes everything. So who are the real people that who's now going to fuel the new normal of the startups? But at the moment is we don't know how long the lockdown going to be, but can we able to keep this hope alive and support them, let them thinking about that what next best going to look like and what kind of solution they can come up with it, because those are the people who are the creators, not the followers. So can we keep that people who keeps on creating and keep on providing the support in the ecosystem that we all want to see in the new normal?
Awesome, awesome. So COVID is already impacting different sectors differently, as you rightly identified that even if you do something in one place, it will impact you somewhere else. We are a connected economies. But if you see some of the sectors like telecom, tourism, airlines, right? They are literally beaten down, and I don't see them coming up for next few years. According to you and the areas you are working in, which are the sectors, right? We all know which are the bad sectors. Which are the sectors you see, like, for example, you talked about 4 of your initiatives. Can you little bit enlighten, how do you identify that those are the sectors, like digitize? Because I met these people, awesome guys, who was the last mile access for the vegetables, getting you home services, delivered using a digital platform. So can you elaborate about what are the sectors you see are going to be green shoots in such a pessimistic environment?
I cannot talk about the global context, but in Nepali context, there's a few area I think that is going to be quite an interesting area to explore. Number one is a health area, health sector,
right?
Because we're already in a crisis. We were a crisis in the before,
right?
And this crisis has brought us that how skeleton we are, And this is again stripping your whole system that hey, there's something we need to fix, something that we need to collaborate here. Something the health system is not just run by the passion, it's run by the technical know-how.
Right.
So due to that as well, that knowledge is so much needed. Data backed of kind of decision making is needed. So this the healthcare system is a one area that I think the lots of startup will come up. But at the same time, people have all start understanding that healthcare is not just the relationship between the doctor and patients. It's about the technicians, engineers, food supplies, and everything as well. So this is something is coming up, the green area that I'm looking at the moment, and which I'm, as a coming from the public health background, I'm quite excited as well at the same time. I'm sure that we're able to find the solution that fits for our country within the expertise and with the scientist or academician that's available within the country. This is one thing that I see that quite positive, despite the global challenges is there. Number two is agriculture sector. What this COVID has taught is we cannot always depend on others.
Yes.
We start going back to basic, right? It's same as hand washing. Not about making a rocket. It's, something that our grandmother used to tell us, wash your hand, mouth, right?
Right, yes.
So, this is something that what I see is we're going back to basic, but what that also means is that people has realized now we cannot always depend, no matter how rich the country is. We cannot completely depend on some other country, even feeding your whole plates. So the people start looking inward, not just and it's not about just about a trade; it's about a creation as well. So this is one side is I'm looking into this huge increment in locally grown products, something that you've been campaigning a lot. And this is probably the first time the farmers is getting that you are the most important people in the earth at the moment. Otherwise they're looked down upon. But now is who's the one who's going to keep us alive? Are the farmers. So this is something that again, this is something I see the agriculture side. Unfortunately, that country like Nepal, which completely depended on two things, our biggest financial, our economy dependent on one is on remittance, right? That's going to hit quite badly. Number two is tourism. Now, again, there's no way that the world can pick up for next year and a half on the movement of the people that what it used to be before. Until and unless there is a mass vaccination that goes around the world, people don't have that kind of confidence. Maybe that Nepal will lift up saying, we can welcome the tourist, but that country might not have finished that COVID, cases, right? Plane, as we have heard that globally, there are huge airline companies, hotels, and everybody all have been suffered a lot, right? But it's kind of like this is two things that Nepal's economy depend on, and that's going to hit quite a lot. But having said that, is there another way that we can go back to the basic, go back to what we can reproduce ourselves? But there is a market globally as well. Because one of the things is, as you know, Deepak, Nepal is blessed by the nature, right? We have got a 70 meter above sea level to 8,848 meters. So you can grow mango till having a high-end apple, right?
True.
Right? You can have a fish till you can have a yak, in the mountains. So this just has given us a different perspective to look into it. So yeah, but another big innovation going to happen, as I said, in the health sectors, it's also going to happen in education. Something that we all, the technological guys, so much push forward. We need to introduce the technology, we can strengthen our human capability to the next level. And lots of people didn't listen. And COVID has been the best teacher for all this decision maker to become in the Zoom or using a technology to, take the knowledges, to share the ideas to the next level. So I'm not that always pessimist. Despite that financially, it's going to be very bad. And with the finance, what comes up is a mental health, right? And mental health, one of the biggest challenge for people to cope with it. So due to that as well, that I've been talking to our Psychiatric Association of Nepal as well, saying that what kind of mental health that we should provide, because I don't want young people, giving up, at this crisis. So this is due to that as well. That and last part is Deepak, that what I've seen is that I know people has been very challenging to cope with each other. It's first time you staying locked down at home and you staying with your loved ones for more than you were supposed to. For many, it has been a luxury, but for many, it has been a biggest challenge. And we shouldn't forget those unspoken voices. Not everybody is luxury like us, Deepak. We can have access to internet. We can have access to roof, right? And not everybody, right? Majority of the global population, they're silently fading away. It's our job is to think that how we can spare our ears for those who want to share their stories to us as well. So because those are the key people that we need to look after. And this is exactly, you shouldn't ignore or you shouldn't leave any human being behind. That's what the COVID has taught us. If you leave them, it'll catch you up. And that is what the global leaders has made the mistake. When some problem happens in your neighbors, we laughed at it. We say it's not going to happen. We are different kind of people. But first time that virus has shown that what is the pandemic means, We said like our music video has been a viral, that literally 2 viruses have shown that how the viral means, right? You don't even have a chance to say goodbye. And that's the way we are. And it is an unseen enemy. And we're all fighting in our own ways. So we should listen to those people who don't have the voice. They're even struggling to even for survive before the COVID. Now they're suffering a lot. So I think people like us, like people like yourself, who've been working with the farmers, is the right time to listen to them. Those who are in the daily wages people, we need to listen to them because they are the biggest fueling power to the bigger economy. So it has given me a different perspective to listen, and listen again, right? So this is exactly what I'm doing at the moment, besides running around like a mad.
No, awesome, Tshering. It was like, very, very different perspective. Generally, we hear from a lot of people, right? I believe in what we are saying that, like, having ear at the right place is very, very critical to, like, in such a scenario where it's gonna, like, be very critical that we give our ears to these people. Otherwise, we lose a lot of people. That's bringing us to our third question. So, like, it is more of on a personal level. See, we know that COVID is just not a health issue. It's a social, economical, business, as well as a personal crisis. Sorry for using the word crisis, because we are not tuned to live the way we are living today. Now, according to you, right, I would like to understand, though you have been very busy, you are not locked down, you are traveling, right? But definitely there is a change in the way things you were doing before COVID and now what you are doing. Now, I would like to understand that what you are doing to make yourself and your organization, right, become a better version of yourself when the COVID is over.
I think this is a very, very good question, Deepak, but at the same time, very challenging as well, because we're still processing to understand what it is. If somebody says, I'm an expert in COVID, they're only 5 months old. Where we are at the moment, right? Globally, right? So this is a time that I was talking to my ideators and my staff. I'll usually have a weekly meeting with them. And I said, hey, this is a time to tap into our secret resources. The secret resources are our physical energy, our emotional energy, our mental energy, and our spiritual energy. Because it's a time to reflect ourselves that who we are at the moment. Because it has, no matter how powerful people, the unseen virus has locked people up, right? So this is more like a bit like a philosophical, but I think this is what the COVID has taught us, and it has taught me as well. I do go out, but I'm more aware of everything as well. I'm more aware about the voice of the patients. I'm more aware of the voice of the doctors. I'm more aware of the even voice of my parents as well. And you asked me that, what is the things that we're going to do with the new terms? And literally today, I had my colleagues meeting, and my colleague said, what are we going to do with all the plans we have, right? I said, COVID has locked us in, but our time doesn't wait for us. But our job as a human, who's best animal in the world in the adapting or adopting, right? Or co-creating how we can do things differently, right? It's same as like when the first computer came, everybody worried about their job going to take away. But now, without a computer, our job going to be taken away. This is where we are. Right? So I just told them, like, think about it, how you can start thinking slightly differently, right? This is where we need to use our energy. As a personally challenge for me is I need to look into now the global norms of how we're going to finance the startups. What is a new model of impact investment going to look like? Or is it a right time to kickstart impact investment, right? Because everybody have used their savings now for a month without having an income. So what is the next ask going to be? What kind of next investment going to be? So that is something going in my head. But at the same time, I'm telling my colleagues, don't worry about your expenses at the moment. Let us handle that. Because I've got a better connection. You've got a better connection. We'll survive for another 6 months. But there's a few of our people who might not be able to survive even the 2 months. So it's time to say, like, hey, we're there to look after you. Think about it. Think differently, right? Think that there is a support mechanism for you. We're always there for you. Let's work it out. Because we all are fighting our own little war, our own little existence. Yes, it's a COVID, but we all come from different backgrounds. We have got different expertise. But is there something we can bring it together? So one thing, I'm keeping these energies together for them, but also sharing. Biggest challenge as a person that I'm facing, being a dad, right? When your children are away, or your son is away, your wife is away, you cannot fly, you don't know when you're going to fly, right? And when your son are going to ask you, man, Dad, when you're coming back, and that hurts you. Man? And I can relate that, and it's a difficult, but at the same time that I made a decision to stay in Nepal, and I can hear those words coming from our medical doctors. I hear those who are in the front line. I say, I can relate to you guys. But at the same time that if I go, who is the biggest possible transmitter now? Is a person like me, a person like you, people who've been traveling a lot, right? Not people who are staying at home. So what we have learned is if you're doing a trade from one country, we have to ready to accept that some bad things coming in as well, right? If you just want to get in the remittance, we also need to be ready to accept those. When those people start sending back, we need to plan how we can accept our people back, right? But at the same time that we are looking for a new normal, and what the new normal gonna be, this is something that we need to think and rethink again, and how we're going to adopt and adapt on a new normal. And the only way to get this across is a collaborations, because you cannot leave anybody behind or any country behind now. If you leave them, something will catch you up, which you'll never see them. Right?
Perfect.
So people had a nuclear plants and everything, but there's a little virus going on which you don't see. Everybody's locked in. You know?
Yeah, no, right, very rightly articulated, and I can understand challenge. The only by God grace, your family is in Vietnam, which is far more safer, right, than any place in the world. And maybe once this is over, I would like to travel with you to Vietnam to understand what they did right. So close to China, and still, like, they are doing so well. So, Tshering, this brings us to our last question, right? I would like to have from you 3 silver bullets, which if there is a startup entrepreneur sitting in front of you and he's asking you, tell me 3 things that I should do to end up COVID with a smile, not with a tear.
At the moment, for all the startups, I really want to request them is to reflect and rethink that things what they've been doing. The COVID has given us a bit of time for the self-healing as well. Because as a startup, we always run. We don't walk. We leapfrog. We don't pull. So it's a time that it has asked us to rethink, re-energize ourselves. Hey, at the end of the day, we are human beings, right? And there's a little saying in the differently able movement, nothing about us without us. What does it mean is nothing about you without you. You've got to be, as I said earlier, look into yourself, tap into your secret energy, and ready for the new normal. And that will be very exciting. And if you cannot able to accept this new normal, it's a very challenging. So time to, it's not outward, it's more looking at inward and looking at our own energies, right? And the other thing is also the power of full engagement at the moment, right? And one of the last things that I want to tell all the startups, there is a saying that, is failing to plan is planning to fail. It's the right time to plan. And right time to look into the resources around you, right? Your dad might be the best useful mentor that you never have asked for. It's time to ask your mom that how the really whole kitchen functions, right? It's not only your brain get clogged in, your toilet gets clogged in as well. So it's time to use your bit of plumbing skill as well if your need is clogged up. So it's about trying to go to the basic, but also looking at your own, we are the part of the ecosystem. It's not about one-man show anymore. In the COVID, the biggest hero is not us, it's the coronavirus. So one way to deal with it is to reserve in our energy and looking for the global possible collaborations. And that's one way that we can able to get out of this. And I think the new normal is going to be very exciting for our startups. And that's going to be the new startups for everybody. Right?
That's the underlying message. Startup for everybody,
right?
not just for very specific type of people. That's a great thought.
So I'm really looking forward to see that how this big company going to act on it. Mm-hmm. And there's a big possibility that a small company or some country you never heard about, something might new come up. Mm-hmm. And that's what the virus has done to us. Mm-hmm. So yeah, let's hope for the best and let's prepare for the worst, right? Let's take care of ourselves and take care of each other and keep the mind going, right? And so that's all I want to say.
Awesome, Tshering. It's always a pleasure to interact with you. Always I go with a lot of analogies as well as phrases which I keep on using again and again. So I got few today. I believe the audience who are listening to it would not just get the business insight from you, but a lot of spiritual connect also. because few things which you talk actually directly connects with heart. So thanks for that. Really appreciate your time, and look forward to see you soon once we do defeat this virus, who is currently hero and we are villain. Thank you, Tshering. Thanks a lot.
Exactly. All right, Deepak. Pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.